The night sky looked normal. Stars blinked. The moon shone bright. But something was wrong. In a quiet control room deep under Nevada, an operator stared at his screen. He zoomed in. Then again, his hand shook. "Commander," he said, "there's something above the moon." Commander Leah Grant walked over. One look, and her face went pale. It wasn't a meteor. It wasn't a satellite. It was a ship. Huge, dark, silent, no signal, no lights, no sound. It just hovered. "Get me eyes in orbit," Grant ordered. Satellites across the planet turned toward the strange object. Data poured in. It was real. 40 kilometers wide, covered in strange metal. Alien symbols across its side. Then the signal hit. Every phone, every screen, every radio station, every smart device. One message appeared clear and cold. "We are the Varnax Empire. You have been observed. Earth shall now submit." Panic began. People screamed in homes and streets. Planes stopped in midair. Soldiers dropped their weapons, frozen in fear. News anchors stuttered on live TV. The world had just been told it was not alone, and that it was about to be conquered. The United Terran Assembly called an emergency session in Geneva. Every world leader was present physically or by holocall. Security was tight. No one trusted anyone. Arguments broke out. Do we surrender? Can we fight? Is it real? But in one corner of the room, a tall man sat silently. His name was Commander Eli Mercer, once a soldier, now a diplomat. He was known for staying calm, even when cities burned. He stood up slowly, voice calm. "We don't panic," he said. "Not yet. First, we respond." Everyone looked at him. "What do we say?" Mercer looked up at the big screen, still showing. The alien message. He spoke 5 words. "Tell them we heard them." Confused silence followed. That was it? But Mercer didn't care. He turned and walked out. He went straight to a private vault deep underground. Retinal scan, blood scan, voice, match. Inside was a small black case, sealed for 40 years. He opened it. Inside was an old piece of tech, ugly, scarred, glowing faint blue. A weapon? No doubt a signal beacon. Mercer held it in both hands and whispered, "Let's hope we never needed this." He activated it. Somewhere deep in space, something ancient stirred. Back in orbit, the Varnax ship remained quiet, but more ships were arriving. One, then 5, then 50. Giant star cruisers, shaped like knives and bones. The fleet began forming a circle around Earth. The meaning was clear. Earth had 7 days to respond or be taken. No more talking. No more delay. In a mountain base under Antarctica, a secret council watched the skies. "The signal was sent," said one. "They'll come. They have to." Another, an older woman with cybernetic eyes, nodded. "If not, we die." But none of them looked at the stars. They looked at Eli Mercer, because long ago he had made a promise to something not quite human. And now the price of that promise was due. Above Earth, the lead Varnax ship opened the transmission. A face appeared, long, pale, and cruel. Eyes like glass, voice like oil. "I am Lord Vez of the Varnax. Surrender your planet, or be made extinct." At that moment, a new signal appeared cutting across the Varnax feed. A human voice. Clear, calm, Mercer. You have one choice. Leave or burn. The galaxy had just met humanity's final warning, and they didn't yet understand what it meant. But soon, they would. Lord Vez, commander of the Varnax fleet, sat in his throne-like chair made of bone and steel. His pale fingers tapped the edge of the console. Behind him, stars drifted past the ship's viewing window. "Play the message again," he said. A human voice echoed through the chamber. You have one choice. Leave or burn. The Varnax officers looked confused. One asked, My lord, was that a threat? Vez smiled cold and sharp. No, it was a mistake. A tiny world dares to speak as equals. Let's make them regret it. Below, Earths. Governments scrambled. In Geneva. The United Terran Assembly debated all night. Some wanted surrender. They have thousands of ships. We have maybe 100. They control 10 star systems. We can barely reach Mars. Others wanted to fight. We are humans. We never kneel. Better to die free than live under alien rule. But all waited for one man, Eli Mercer. He entered the room calmly, his face unreadable. He placed a small silver cube on the table. What's that? Someone asked. Mercer looked around the room. It's a reply. Not words, not a threat. A memory. He pressed the cube. A hologram burst into the air. It showed a world not Earth burning. Alien towers falling. Varnax ships exploding mid-air. A voice, human but older, filled the room. We warned them. They didn't listen. Gasps filled the chamber. One general whispered, Is that from the Titan War? Mercer nodded. Before the Varnax ruled the stars, they tried to take Titan. We were still weak, still learning. But even then, we pushed them back. Another leader asked, Why didn't we know this? It was buried, Mercer said. Too dangerous to share. Too painful. But now we remember. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, the Varnax armada spread like a black net around the planet. Commander Draal, Vez's second-in-command, watched. The Earth threw a scanner. They still haven't fired. No defenses raised. Why wait? Lord Vez stood slowly. They think they can bluff, but we know their truth. Weak, divided, full of fear. He pointed at Earth's image. Prepare the altar beam. Let's give them a taste of silence. Back on Earth, Mercer stood on a military airfield in Arizona. Large steel hangars shook as old weapons were rolled out, some not touched in decades. One of them, covered in black cloth, looked like a simple drone. But inside, it was not Dot. It was something Earth wasn't supposed to have. Something built. In secret, using alien tech from long-forgotten wars, Dot Mercer turned to a young pilot beside him. Do you know what you're flying? The pilot, Callan Ward, nodded. Only what I need to know, sir. Mercer studied him. Your mission is simple. If they fire, you fire back. But once you launch, there's no return. Callan grinned slightly. And I won't miss. In space, alarms sounded. The Varnax ship powered up its beam. A line of blue light formed beneath it, energy gathering, humming like a god's whisper. On Earth, satellites picked up the signal. Cities braced. Panic began again, but Mercer stood still. He sent one last message. You still have a choice, Varnax. Leave, now, or feel the fire of a species that crawled out of its own ashes. The countdown began. 10.9.8. Then suddenly, the Varnax fleet stopped. A new ship arrived. Not Varnax, not human. Something else. It was gold. Long silent. Its presence made the stars blink. Inside the United Terran Assembly, Mercer whispered, They came. The council stared at him. Who? Mercer said only one word. The witnesses. The golden ship did not move. It didn't send a message. It didn't aim a weapon. It simply hovered between Earth and the Varnax fleet, glowing softly like a star that had stopped to listen. Inside the lead Varnax warship, Lord Vez stared at the strange vessel. What is that? He demanded. His officers scanned it. Unknown structure. No engine signature. No weapons. But it bends gravity. Another officer gasped. My lord, this design. It matches old warnings from the high archives, the ones about the Watchers. VEZ growled. Those were myths. The officer shook his head. Maybe not. That ship is watching us, judging. Down on Earth, Eli Mercer stood outside a command bunker. Cold wind whipped around him. His earpiece buzzed. Sir, the golden ship is doing nothing. Mercer didn't answer. He didn't need to. He had seen that ship once before, years ago, in deep space. During a failed rescue mission near the Orion Grave, half his team died. But that ship, it saved him, without a word, without a reason, and then it vanished. Only now it had returned. This time for everyone. In Geneva, the United Terran Assembly watched a live feed of the golden ship. The politicians argued, is it with U.S.? Is it another threat? Can we trust it? Mercer entered the room and raised a hand. You don't understand, he said calmly. They're not with us, or with the Varnax. They are the witnesses, old as the stars, older maybe. The room fell quiet. They don't fight, they don't speak. But when they arrive, it means one thing. He looked around. A final choice is about to be made. Back in orbit, the Varnax fleet charged weapons again. They were not afraid of myths. We fire in 60 seconds, said Commander Drahl. Let them all watch us burn this planet. Suddenly, the golden ship moved. Not fast, just closer. And when it did, all power in the Varnax fleet flickered. Lights died. Engines slowed. Weapons failed. And on Earth nothing was touched. Only the Varnax. Then, for the first time in history, the witnesses spoke. A soft, ancient voice echoed in both human and Varnax minds. This is not your world. This is their test. You may leave, or be remembered as dust. Lord Vez snarled. We don't take orders from ghosts, he barked. Fire the beam. But the beam never came, because in that moment, Callan Ward launched. Earth's hidden weapons streaked into orbit, faster than sound, faster than any Varnax could track. It wasn't just a ship. It was built from alien scraps, human rage, and stolen secrets. As it soared toward the lead Varnax dreadnought, Mercer whispered, That is humanity's choice? Above the Earth, the golden ship glowed brighter. Witnesses watched, and waited. Because the real test had begun. Callan Ward sat inside the black craft, strapped tight, heart pounding. The cockpit was silent. No voice, no guidance. Just the countdown blinking red. 14 seconds to target. This wasn't a fighter. It was a blade, a weapon made from human fear. And human hope. As he passed through the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere, the stars opened around him. Before him the Varnax dreadnought, shaped like a floating fortress. And behind it, the golden ship still hovered, watching. On board the dreadnought, alarms screamed. Object incoming. We can't lock on. It's too fast. Shields are failing. Unknown interference. Lord Vez leaned forward. Destroy it. But no weapon fired, because nothing worked. The golden ship hadn't attacked, but its presence scrambled everything the Varnax had, and Callan Ward flew straight through the chaos like a ghost with purpose. Inside the craft, Callan's fingers hovered over a red switch. There was no return. The system didn't allow it. 6 seconds, he whispered to himself. For Earth, for my brother, for the cities that will never burn, for the girl I left behind, for humanity. He pressed the switch. The ship released a single object. Not a bomb, not a missile. A pulse core, small, dark, and glowing blue dot. It carried no warhead. Just data, a message, a memory dot and a warning dot. It struck the dreadnought's outer hull dash, quietly. No explosion. Just silence. Then, images. Visions. The Varnax bridge, filled with sound and light. Human screams, burned cities, boy holding a flag in the rubble, a soldier crawling with half his arm gone, dragging a child to safety. The core sent it all, directly into their minds. Not victory, not pride, but survival, the price humanity paid to still exist. And then came the voice of Eli Mercer from the memory cube. You think we're weak because we don't rule. You think we're small because we don't expand. But everything we are was built. After fire, we do not bow. We do not beg. We survive. We endure. And if pushed, we end wars. The dreadnought shook. Its systems overloaded not from damage, but from emotion. The Varnak's cold, calculated, had never known fear like this. Not pain, but something worse. Understanding. That the humans were not bluffing. They were warning. Vez grabbed the armrests, furious. What is this trick? But he saw it. He felt it. The human spirit, broken 1,000 times. But still? Standing. And then a new voice echoed in the chamber. Not from the pulse core, not from the golden ship, from space itself. The test is complete. The lights dimmed. A beam of golden light from the witness's ship touched the Varnak's dreadnought. It didn't destroy it. It erased every weapon, every engine, every command, function. The ship was now a shell, dead in space. Other Varnak ships retreated instantly. Back on Earth, cheers erupted. Geneva roared with joy. Cities celebrated. But Eli Mercer only looked up. Because he knew this wasn't over. The Varnaks wouldn't forget, and the witnesses were still watching. And in the black sky above, Callan Ward's ship floated silent. His mission was done, but he had not returned. The pulse core had needed his life to work. In a quiet room, Eli Mercer sat alone. He held a folded letter in his hands. Callan's final message. If we survive this, tell the stars who we are. Tell them Earth doesn't kneel. Tell them, I chose this. Earth was safe. For now, but the world didn't celebrate for long. There were no fireworks, no parades. Just silence. The kind of silence that comes after a storm, when people step outside and see what's left. Callan Ward didn't return. His name was whispered in homes, carved into stone, printed on banners. But the sky remained quiet. Above Earth, the golden ship of the witnesses still hovered calm, glowing, silent. It had not moved. Not since the Varnak's fleet vanished. And that silence made people uneasy. In Geneva, the United Terran Assembly met again. Leaders sat around the giant table, their voices low. No one knows who the witnesses are. Are they still watching us? Will they judge us again? Eli Mercer stood in the shadows of the room. He hadn't spoken in hours. When he did, it was soft. They don't speak unless they must. They don't act unless we force them to. A woman asked, then why are they still here? Mercer looked up. Because we haven't passed yet. Far away, in a hidden military base in Alaska, scientists examined the wreckage of the Pulse core delivery system. What was left of Callan's craft had landed safely. Dash empty. No body. No black box. Just one message engraved into the steel cockpit wall. Not dead, just beyond. No one understood what it meant. Meanwhile, in deep space, the Varnak's empire reeled from humiliation. Lord Vez had vanished, stripped of command. New leaders took power. One of them, General Talver, stood before a shattered map of the galaxy. He pointed at Earth's location. This small blue world stopped us, with one voice, one warning. Another officer asked, do we strike again? Talver shook his head. No. We listen. We wait. We rebuild. He paused. But one day, they will fall, not from invasion, but from the inside. Back on Earth, strange things began to happen. People heard whispers in their sleep. Children drew pictures of golden stars. and ships they had never seen. Satellites caught flashes, golden lights blinking on the edges of space. Then gone. It wasn't fear. It was. Watching. Eli Mercer knew the feeling. One evening, he stood alone atop a mountain base, wind howling around him. He looked at the Witness's ship above. And for the first time in years, he spoke not as a soldier, not as a leader, but as a man. Is this it? Was this the test? Or are we still being judged? No answer. But then the clouds shifted. A beam of golden light touched the ground before him. Inside it, hovering, was a small metallic cube. He stepped forward and picked it up. It pulsed. Once, then opened. Inside was Callan Ward's flight badge. Perfect. Untouched. Mercer stared at it for a long time. Later, he placed it in a museum built in the middle of Earth's first interstellar memorial. It had no walls. No ceiling. Just stars above. And silence all around. The plaque beneath the badge read, "One life. One choice. One warning." The galaxy listened. And Earth remained. But deep below, in a vault no one knew about, something stirred. An alert blinked red. Unknown signal, unknown origin, coming from far, far beyond the mapped universe. And it was headed toward Earth. It began with a sound no one could hear. A pulse, not loud, not sharp. Just deep, like a heartbeat at the edge of space. In a dark command room under the Himalayas, a technician noticed a strange blip on the long-range sensor. She frowned. Zoomed in, her screen flickered, data corrupted, symbols twisted. "Sir," she whispered, "we're getting a signal." The commander walked over. "From where?" She shook her head. "From beyond the galactic edge." He stared. "At the readout. That's uncharted space. No stars. No systems. Nothing should be there. But something was. A signal that shouldn't exist. And it was aimed straight at Earth. The United Terran Assembly met again. Fear sat in the room. Like smoke. It's not Varnax. It's not the Witnesses. Then what is it? Eli Mercer entered the chamber. The room fell silent. He stood before the screen and pressed a button. The strange signal played aloud. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't a language. It was a pattern. 3 tones. Repeating. Low. Higher. Then silence. Low. Higher. Silence. And then a final note. A 3rd tone deeper than the others. Almost like a growl. Then it stopped. Mercer spoke quietly. "That's not communication. That's a warning." Someone asked, "From who?" Mercer turned slowly. "Or from what?" Above Earth, the golden ship of the Witnesses moved for the first time in days. It rotated slightly. Then opened. Not a weapon. A gate. A beam of golden light shot out and connected with the moon. And on the moon's far side, a structure appeared one humanity had never seen before. A doorway. A tunnel. A path. Outward. Mercer was flown to a base on the lunar surface. He walked across the gray dust, staring at the ancient-looking arch now embedded in the stone. Symbols glowed across its surface. One of the scientists said, "We scanned it. It's older." And Earth itself. Mercer knelt beside it. His eyes scanned the writing. Some of it looked human. He spoke 2 words out loud. "Starseed Protocol." The scientist blinked. "You've heard of it?" "No," Mercer replied. "But I dreamed it when I touched the cube." Meanwhile, in a dark part of the galaxy far beyond known space, something began to move. It had no name. It had no face. But it was old. Older than empires. Older than the Witnesses. It had watched from the shadows. Now that humanity had made contact with the Witnesses, it considered that a problem. On Earth, children began having dreams of a sky tearing open, of a whisper that said only one sentence: "The third path must not awaken." No one understood, but the witnesses did. For the first time, they sent a message, 3 words, all across Earth, not all languages, not all screens, all minds, prepare to choose. And with that, the golden ship began to shift, not into a weapon, but into a mirror. Its surface reflected Earth, not as it was, but as it could become. One side showed peace. A united species. The other side showed fire, ruins, silence. The gate on the moon began to hum. Inside it, another signal pulsed. Not a threat. Voice. Human. Callan Ward's voice. Mercer, they're not gods, but they're not enemies. They want to see if we can stand alone. The real war hasn't started, but it's coming. Eli Mercer stood at the edge of the moon gate. The wind, yes. Somehow wind blew softly from within. He whispered, "Is this our test?" And the gate answered, not in words, but with a memory. Earth, burning. Earth, rebuilding. Earth, standing tall. And then a shadow, something massive, watching. Waiting. Asterisk. Eli Mercer stood at the edge of the glowing lunar gate. Behind him, Earth. Ahead, stars he couldn't name. And within the gate, a path that shimmered like a dream. Not solid, not space. Something in between. But one thing was clear. This path was for humans only. Not ships. Not armies. Not machines. Only those who were chosen could step through. Back on Earth, the golden witness ship released one final pulse. It reached every city, village, and corner of the world. But it did not bring fear. It brought questions. Simple. Personal. Deep. Each person heard it differently. Some heard, "What do you stand for?" Others, "What would you give to protect others?" A few heard, "Would you destroy to save?" The witnesses were not testing weapons or numbers, that they were testing something else. Human heart, human will, human truth. Mercer stepped through the gate. 1 step, no pain. 2 steps. The stars bent. 3 steps. He wasn't on the moon anymore. He stood on a smooth, endless floor under a sky that held 2 suns and 3 moons. Before him stood Callan. Ward. Alive. But changed. His body glowed faintly. His eyes shimmered like starlight. "Welcome," Callan said. Mercer stared. "You're alive?" Callan smiled. "I'm part of something now. Something bigger. The gate didn't take my life. It transformed it." He pointed beyond the horizon. "There's more out there. Dark things. Silent things. Things that wake when a young race becomes too loud." Mercer understood. The signal from the void. Callan nodded. It wasn't just a warning. It was a predator noticing a spark. Behind them, a shadow began to rise. Not evil. Not even angry. Just hungry. Older than stars. It had destroyed civilizations before Earth even formed. And now, it was looking toward the blue planet. Callan spoke quickly. "There are 2 paths now. One, we stay quiet, hide, delay the end. 2, we stand, as we always have, and make our voice loud enough that even ancient things must listen." Mercer frowned. "Won't that make us a target?" Callan answered, "We already are." Back on Earth, the witness ship began to fade. But before it vanished, it sent one final phrase across the sky. "We offered choice. Now comes truth." And then it was gone. No sound. No light. Just Earth. And the stars. And silence. In Geneva, world leaders waited. Mercer had not returned. The gate on the moon flickered once, then closed. Permanently. But not without leaving something behind. A single stone tablet, floating in midair. No support. Words burned into its surface. "The test has ended. Earth has chosen to stand. Others will come. Prepare." 10 years passed. The Varnaks never returned. Not out of fear, but out of respect. They had seen something older than their empire. That something watching. Earth. Something defending Earth. And they knew now. You don't test humans twice. Children in schools now studied the day of the choice. Statues of Callan Ward stood on 3 continents. And somewhere, deep in space, a new golden ship blinked into existence. But it wasn't of the witnesses. It was something new. Built by humans. Guided by humans. Carrying the voice of Earth. And on its side, 3 words. We are ready.